Okay, so tabulation of data. Okay, this is the name of the concept. So in this, we are going to learn how to tabulate or how to make sure the data is in a presented form. Okay, that can be done using statistical tables. Now, what is a statistical table? Just drawing the lines and filling the data is a table, but it is not exactly statistical table. So let's understand precisely what a statistical table. So it's a systematic arrangement of statistical data in columns and rows. So our table has columns and rows, that is well known, but there has to be a systematic arrangement. This can be a 2 marks question. What is statistical table? Okay, a statistical table is a systematic arrangement. You'll have to be careful here. It is not only arrangement, it has to be a systematic arrangement of statistical data. It's not just any data, it has to be a statistical data. Now, what is the difference is statistical data can be used to solve or can be used to get more information when you either solve it or when you apply any statistical tool. So it's a table which is arranged in a systematic order and but then what data is put into it? The statistical data. And it is arranged in columns and rows, where columns represents the vertical arrangement and rows represents the horizontal arrangement. They have just given the same explanation what column and rows are talking about. And now this was one part of a introduction. Now let's understand what is the meaning of statistical table. The purpose of statistical table is to simplify the presentation of classified statistical data and to facilitate meaningful comparison. So if you remember, we have solved a lot of problems where they give us the individual observations, and we, with the help of tally bars, okay, with the help of tally bars, we prepare a frequency distribution table. So in that scenario, we would have seen the raw data or individual observations given to us. So that when you put into any sort of table using tally bars or just by directly counting them, that is called a statistical table here. Now we have another definition also for this. They can also ask this for 2 marks. Define statistical table. This can also be a question. Now let's see. In the words of Tuttle, okay, Turtle is a person who has given the definition. A statistical table is the logical listing of related quantitative data in the vertical columns and horizontal rows of numbers with sufficient explanatory and qualifying words, phrases and statements in the forms of title, heading and notes to make clear and full meaning of data and their origin. So he has given a long definition which is talking about what all should be present in the statistical table. So first thing what he is talking is, it is a logical listing of related quantitative data. Quantitative, the data where you can count them, so that is quantitative. Now when you see the individual observations, you can count how many number of data is there, you can count. So that is quantitative data, and this quantitative data is being put into vertical columns and horizontal rows. Now you may have 1 row, 3 rows, 5 rows, 10 rows, any number of rows as per the data you can have, where you will give enough explanation for the data whatever is being put into the table. First we'll put all the data into the table and then we will give sufficient explanation. That explanation will be given by using qualifying words, phrases and statements in the form of titles. Now we are explaining the whole table by giving titles, headings and notes. So you have to give a title to the table, then you will have to give a heading to the table. Title will just say table of what, then heading will explain us what includes in a table. Okay, like always I told you will have to give a heading to every table. like calculation of arithmetic mean, calculation of standard deviation, calculation of mean deviation. So every table compulsorily must have a heading. So without heading, if you draw a table and solve the problem, you will still not be able to get marks in examinations, complete marks, because the examiner or the person who is evaluating your paper will not know what you're calculating. Or even if you use the data for research, you don't know what that person has calculated using the tables. Okay, so always titles, heading, notes are very, very important to make sure everybody understands the statistical table. There is another small definition. A table summarizes the data by using columns and rows and entering figures in the body of the table. As simple as that. It's just a table which we always draw using which has rows and columns, and where we enter the data into the table. So that is a simple definition. The words of Tuttle is very, he has explained what all should be in the table. Carmel has explained it very easily. Okay, did you all understand this slide completely about statistical tables? Anybody has doubt in this? Yeah, okay, so no doubt, everybody understood. Yeah, let's continue. Now, the next what we have to learn is, now that we have learned what is the statistical data, what is statistical table and all that, now let's go on and learn what is tabulation. Now we have the individual series data with us. Now how do we tabulate that data? Okay, this is something of a statistical jargon or a technical term which is mostly always used in statistics, like how we use calculation of arithmetic mean, median, mode, like that. Tabulation also means a part of calculation, but it also includes many other things. So let's see what is tabulation. Tabulation is a process of systematic and orderly presentation of classified statistical data for a quick location of desired information in columns and rows. Now this same statistical data, when you put it into a table, okay, when you put it into a table, you make sure it is presented properly, okay, with all the title, heading, head note, footnote, table number. Table numbers are also given. If say for example in your textbook, table number 1, table number 2, all this will be given. So it is easy for people to go through the tables. If they want to search any table, it is also easy by checking the table number. So that is called as tabulation. It is a process of systematic and orderly presentation. Now the table cannot be the table which was supposed to be given in the first problem, they cannot give that in the fifth problem, right? So orderly presentation is also important. So that orderly presentation of statistical data is called tabulation. So tabulation is the final stage in collection of data and paves way for further statistical analysis and interpretation. Now once you tabulate the data, once you prepare the data, once you get all the data and prepare it for the further calculation, then it is called tabulation. Now let's take our own problems example. Now we have a question. Now once we see the question, in the solution we give a heading, calculation of let's say we are calculating median, calculation of median. Then below that we write down the x values, either it is discrete series or continuous series. We write down the values, we write down the frequency, we calculate the cumulative frequency. Now once you calculate all the three, it means you have tabulated the data. So now this table is ready for further calculations. What are the further calculations? Calculating the median. Now later on you will go on and calculate the median. So that is called, that preparing that table is called tabulation. Okay, so there are few definitions which are provided to us. Let's just go through them. According to Bowley, okay, there's one person who gives the definition for us. So tabulation is the intermediate process between the accumulation of data in whatever form they are obtained and the final reasoned account of results shown by the statistics. So it is an in-between process. In-between process of which two? Accumulation of data and the results. So once you get the data, no matter in whichever form you get the data, you will immediately arrange the data and tabulate. So the process goes like this. First you collect the data. Okay, so first you will be collecting, just hold on a second. So first will be collection or accumulation of the data, then you will tabulate the data, and then you will show the required results of the data. So first will be your accumulation. This will be process 1. Once you accumulate, you will tabulate or arrange them for the further calculations, and then you will have the data to be solved, or once you solve, whatever result you get, that will be given. Okay, so that is the tabulation definition. Then tabulation is an important statistical tool of presenting mass of information in a condensed and comprehensive form in the minimum possible space. This is very important. Why? Because tabulation is one process where you are going to bring it down to the points, or you're going to summarize the whole thing into easy points. So it is understood by everybody, and you need not go through the whole data to understand. You can just see the tabulated data and say, okay, I understood the whole data. So let's take for example your notes. Now the whole of the notes, whatever you have, if you mark the important points in that, so you will be able to study only important points rather than studying the whole textbook or the whole notes, right? So that is called tabulation, which will reduce the space. Okay, which will reduce the space and also reduce the timings that you will be utilizing for it. So that is tabulation. Hope everybody understood tabulation also. Any doubts in this slide? Can I go on? Yeah. Okay, thank you. Let's continue. Now, objectives of tabulation. So we understood what the tabulation means. Now let's see few of the objectives. So to present the data in simple and understandable manner. When you create a table, it is easy for everybody to understand. So that is, moreover, you have to create a table in a very simple manner. So if you add up too much of numbers again, it will be problematic. So while tabulating the data, make sure it is simple and it is understood by everybody. Then to facilitate comparison of data. Now if you see, when we calculated let's say coefficient of variation. Now when we solve the problems of coefficient of variation, we saw there was firm A, firm B, CV of A, CV of B. Now all these things we compared, right? While we making conclusions, we compared. Okay, CV was more of A and CV of B was less. So we selected CV of B. So we were comparing. Why did we select B? When compared to A's value, B value was less. So that is why we selected the B when in terms of coefficient of variation. So this tabulation will always help us in comparison of data. Then to provide the bird's eye view of the entire data. Bird's eye view means overall view of the data you will know. So like when bird is flying too high, it will be able to see a lot of things at once, right? So when you see from a broader perspective, you will only see the main points. Okay, you'll not be able to see every detail. So that is known as bird's eye view. Now for the entire data, you will be able to see, okay, so many numbers are there, I have to use this formula and I got this result. So bird's eye view of the data will be got upon. Then it facilitate quick location of required data. Now out of all the calculations, I wanted to know how much was arithmetic mean. So I can immediately go back to the calculation where I had tabulated my data, and I will find the values of x bar. Now what all should I require to calculate x bar? Let's say sigma x for individual, sigma fx, let's say with frequency, okay, sigma fx by n. Now I will immediately search for f into x. Fx I will multiply, I will divide by n, I will quickly get the answer for x bar. So I can easily locate any data when I tabulate the data. So these are few of the objectives of tabulation. Again, 2 marks question which has been asked many times in the examination. Name or explain any 2 objectives of tabulation. Clear with this slide? Anybody has doubt here? Can we go for the next slide? Let's continue. Now here we are talking about, let's discuss about few differences between classification and tabulation of data. Now classification also on a broader perspective, or just when you see the terms, classification also means to arrange the data or group the data. Tabulation also means to group the data. Okay, once if you just see the terms. But in depth, when we understand classification and tabulation, there are very few differences. Let us understand those differences. Classification of data is a process of grouping the data on same basis. Now, when in a class, if I am grouping the class as girls and boys, then I put all the girls data under the heading girls. So there is some similar basis which I am taking here, and so that is called as classification. I classify the people on some particular basis. So that will be your classification. When it comes to tabulation, it's a process of placing the classified data in columns and rows. Now in our attendance sheet, if I divide the class into boys and girls and I randomly write down your numbers, okay, I don't even know the names, I just write down, okay, so 6 girls in class and 6 boys in class, for example. If I just write down like this, that is classification. When I put everything into a table along with your serial number, registration number, then your names, full names with initials, then your preferred subject, attendance percentage, your previous semester result, if I put all this into a table, then it is called tabulation of data. So I am preparing the data to take it as a reference later or to calculate anything from that data. So that is tabulation. And again, classification is the first process. So first I will classify the class into boys and girls, and then I will go on and do the tabulation for the data. So tabulation process starts only when classification of data is completed. If I don't classify the data, tabulation can be done, but it will take more time. Okay, so once you will have to classify the data and then only tabulate it. And the last difference, classification is carried for grouping similar information into classes and is presentable in a table. So we are, again, it's saying a very similar point. So classification is grouping the information on a similar basis, and it is just put into a table. Okay, you cannot do any further calculation after classifying. But for tabulation, you can put them into a table and go on and do the calculation. That is the major difference. In classification, you cannot further calculate, but in tabulation, you can do the further calculation. Okay, so these are the few differences between classification and tabulation. Anybody has doubt here? Kindly mute yourself if anybody has unmuted. Any doubts on this slide? Differences? Let's continue. Now, the next, we are supposed to understand the rules of tabulation. One of the important question, sometimes asked for 6 marks. Okay, rarely, but I've seen in uh, 2 question papers where they've asked this for 6 marks. This question and one more question, that is contents of the table, asked for 6 marks. Okay, let's just quickly go through the rules of tabulation. So we cannot particularly say there is a rule which has to be taken before. Okay, but now they have got down into the points and they have customized few of the rules of tabulation. So first thing, what a person has to keep in mind while tabulating. Okay, the person who tabulates is called a tabulator. Okay, and the tabulator should keep in mind certain points when he is preparing the tabulation data, or when he is trying to prepare the data for further calculation. The table should be simple in arrangement, not too many rows, too many columns, too many data put into the same table. It will create lot of confusion. So try to keep it as simple as possible. Then the table should reflect the purpose of tabulation. So first, the table should say, now for what calculation are you using the data. Now if you see calculation of arithmetic mean, now why are we calculating, or why are we arranging the data? To calculate arithmetic mean, or to calculate mean deviation, we will arrange the data. So there should be a purpose for tabulation of the data. Then the table should show all the essential objects of the data. Essential objects means whatever is required for further calculation, all those things has to be reflected in the table. So that is essential objects. Next, the table should be neat and appeal to the readers. If you happen to add too much data in between and you're not understanding yourself how you prepared the table, then it is very difficult to use it for further calculation. So always try to maintain the table very neat and precise. It has to be very simple and crispy for everybody to understand. Unit of measurement used in the table should be given. Suppose this, usually you can expect unit of measurements in CPI, consumer price index problems. In other places we don't see much of it as per our syllabus, but if you happen to learn other chapters, then we will have units of measurement. Now in consumer price index, we had solved a problem under family budget method, okay, which is talking about quintals of rice, kgs of sugar, then again liters of oil. Now these are units of measurement, and it was clearly given in the question what was the unit of measurement which was utilized there. So that also has to be clearly mentioned in the table. So that is a rule of tabulation. Then the number of columns and number of rows should not be too many and too few. They should be optimum. Don't just fill in all the data in one column and one row, or don't use too many rows and columns also. So make sure what is required, only so much has to be used to make your data look very nice and neat. So these are rules of tabulation. Any doubts in this? Now, this is the format of statistical table. BBA students, you have one 6 marks questions, very rarely asked. I think out of 5, they had asked in 2 exams. Okay, what is the, draw the format of statistical table and explain the contents. That was one of the 6 marks questions which were asked. For BCom, I have not seen this question yet, but they may ask. You cannot say anything. So let's just understand. Now, this is the format of table. We have already been using this table from the starting of the subject. Just a simple explanation. You have the title of the table. Now, every table always it's okay. So this the next concept is the format of statistical table. Now here we have been using the statistical table throughout the subject. For BBA, this will be asked for 6 marks. Draw the format of statistical table and explain its contents. For BCom, such questions have not come yet, only regarding format of statistical table, but further explanations we will see. Okay, so first you will have to give the title for the table. That is, every statistical table, it's compulsory to give the title. What are you calculating should be compulsorily written. Now, in any exam, if you don't write the heading for the table, you can expect they can cut 1 to 2 marks. So you better write the heading and then go on with your calculation. Then head note. Head note means if you have any units of measurement to be given in particular, okay, then in such cases you can give a head note. Then stub headings are the major headings that you have to give, like we use X, F, sigma X, D dash, that's deviations when we calculate. Then you have cumulative frequency. Now all those will be caption heads. Okay, then stub entries. Now stub entries are the values that you put inside, or this stub entries can you can say them as another heading on to the first column. And few data you will have column headings also. Okay, so and then you have table number. Every table will be given a number when it comes to research. Now we will be using tables lavishly in solving problems, so we don't give table numbers, but usually when it comes to textbooks or magazines or any journals or any research papers contents, everywhere you use the table number and the source of the table. Suppose if you have copied the table from any website or any book or any textbook, all that you will have to give the source of the table. Then footnote. If you have any other explanation regarding the table, that can be given in the footnote. And these empty cells what you see, these are body of the table where you will fill in the actual data. Okay, so this is the format of statistical table. Now let's quickly understand the parts. The first is the table number, then you have title of the table, date. Okay, few tables they will have date because if they are preparing it on everyday basis, like your timetable. Now every day I send timetable in the morning, so I make sure I have a table with me where I put a date and I prepare a timetable, and then I forward the information to you. For you, when the information reaches, it might not be a table, but I still maintain a table for that with the date. Then stub or row designation. Stub or row designation is this: row headings. The row headings will be your stub. Okay, that's called as stub. Then you have caption or column heading. Caption or column headings are the new headings which are given here. Then body of the table where we enter the numericals or the data. Then you have a head note. Then you have source of data and footnote. If you have any important information to be given before starting the table, you give them in head note. And if you want to give any extra information, then you put that in the footnote. And source of data, I already told, from wherever you have taken the table, graph, figure, all that source, website or name of the book, all that has to be given. So that is, these are the major parts of statistical table. Any doubts until here? No doubts. Let's continue. So this is explanation of statistical table in detail which are given. This again can be asked. Name few parts of statistical table as 2 marks question. Explain, draw a format of statistical table and explain its parts. That also can be there. So that is again you can give these explanations. Okay. So I've already explained all of this. So let's go on. Again, they've given the source, footnote, head note, all that with example they've given. Now, types of statistical tables. There are two major varieties. One is simple and complex table. The other variety is general purpose and special purpose table. So let's see what is simple. Simple table is also called one-way table, showing only one characteristic of data. So the table is prepared on the basis of only one characteristic. Either they will say how many of them were present in class, only that present names I will write. Students who were present, only those names I will write. So that is a simple data. Or let's say fees collection, how many of them have not paid fees, only those students names I will be collecting. So that is a simple table. Now on the other hand, when you have more characteristics or when you consider too many things, now let's say students who have got or who have scored more than 60%, more than 70%, more than 90%, I'm making a table. Okay, now first column will be your names, then the second column more than 60%, how many of them, more than 70%, how many, more than 90%, how many. So here I'm taking more than one characteristic and preparing a table. So that is called complex table or manifold table. Remember the other names of the tables also. First one is simple table or one-way table. Just a second. Sorry, let's continue. The other one is you have more than two characteristics, which is called as complex or manifold table. Now next, you have general purpose and special purpose table. Now in general purpose table, they are also called as reference tables. Now here what will happen is they will give us information for the general reference, so they don't have too much of details in them, or they're not specific to anybody. It's generally given. Let's take for example, general purpose tables can be number of students in the college. So I'm just taking everything in general. I'm not specifically asking which course they are or which college they belong to, not even college. So we will just take the data of students directly, the whole data. That is called general purpose table. Special purpose table or summary table. Now these tables are prepared for special purposes. Now I will prepare a table for giving internal marks for you. Okay, I will prepare a table for BCom separately and say, okay, this table is for a calculation of internal marks for BCom. That's a special purpose table. Again, I prepare another table which says, okay, calculation of internal marks for BBA. So that is special purpose. I have a intention of starting the table and doing preparing the table on an overall basis. So that is special purpose tables. Okay, do you all understand this slide? This can be asked for 2 marks. They have asked general purpose, special purpose tables few times. Complex table has been asked for 2 marks many times. Finally, we have come to the problems. So that completes the theory of this chapter. Now let's go on and see few problems. They're quite easy. The only thing you will have to notice to read the question very, very thoroughly. Okay, wherever there is full stop, comma, where you have to stop, where you have to continue, all that you will have to be careful. Only those that is important. Okay, let's see the first question. In a state, there are 30 lakh people. Out of this, 10 lakh people live in urban areas and the rest in rural areas. In urban areas, there are 7 lakh male people, out of which 2.5 lakh are illiterates. In urban area, 2 lakh ladies are illiterates. In rural area, there are 15 lakh male people, of which 5 lakh are literate. In rural areas, literate ladies are 3 lakhs. Tabulate the above information. Now, I've read the question as slow as possible. Let us analyze this table quickly and solve it. So, you're supposed to tabulate this data. Okay, see, it says tabulate the above information. Now, first, let's see how many variety of information is being given to us. Okay, variety of information meaning what all is there. Okay, so overall, okay, the total population given to us is 30 lakh. Okay, total population is 30 lakh. Now, this 30 lakh population is being divided it into two. One is urban, other one is rural. This is the first classification. Okay, one is urban area, the next one is rural area. So, this is the main classification. Now, after this, in urban area, one second. Now, in urban area, what is the next classification? Let's see. In urban areas, there are 7 lakh male people. Okay, so one classification is male and female. Okay, one classification is male, female. Now, if you see the rural area also, again the classification is male, female. So, this is the second stage of classification. Now, after this, the next stage of classification, 2.5 lakh are illiterates, which means every gender here are again separated by another classification, which is literate and illiterate. Okay, male being a literate or a illiterate, female in urban being a literate or illiterate. Again in rural, male being literate or illiterate. Again in rural, female being literate or illiterate. Okay, so this is how they classify the data. So if you're getting confused, you can draw the tables like this and then you can draw the actual tabulation. So I hope everybody understood how to classify the data first. Any doubts until here? Everybody understood this? Okay, now let's put everything into the table. The same classification, we'll just put that into the table. Now coming to the table, just hold on. Okay, now coming to the table, we have a table heading. Table showing area-wise literacy position of men and women of the state. So it says a state, we have men, women, then it says area, urban area, rural area. So area-wise literacy, because it's giving us the data of literates and illiterates. So give a detailed heading for the table. So area showing table showing area-wise literacy position of men and women of the state. Now here is the head note. Numbers is in lakhs. So here they have given us 3 lakhs, 10 lakhs, 7 lakh, 2.5 lakh. So we cannot keep writing the zeros here. So instead of that, we will put a head note. Okay, this is known as head note here. Head note is numbers are in lakhs. Now we will give the stub headings. Stub headings are your row headings. Okay, first common heading is area. Area is for your columns. Okay, this is column heading. Urban is one column heading. Rural is another column heading. See, that is what I'm doing. The main classification, urban, rural, that has been considered here. Then I give another total column. Okay, always have a total column. Then you have, we are dividing this one cell into two parts, where this column, sub column headings is given based on the gender or sex here. That is male, female, total. Again, that is for urban. Urban male, urban female, total. Rural male, rural female, total. And total of everything. Okay, total of male, total of female, and total of the total. Then, when it comes to literacy, we have two categories, that is literate, illiterate for everybody. Okay, so literate, illiterate, total. Okay, so this is giving the heading. Now do not confuse and exchange the places. It will be a little problematic for you to put the numbers, but you will still get the answer. So always you can give this hierarchy, and then you can do the table. Now let us put the numbers. First, there were total 30 lakh people. So overall state population was 30 lakh. I've put it here. Out of that, 10 lakh people lived in urban. Now in urban, my total of male and female is 10 lakhs. Okay, and rest in rural areas. Out of 30, if 10 were in urban, I can say in rural there were 20. Now how did I get 20? 30 minus 10. Okay, 30 minus 10 is the overall value that I get. Did you all understand until here? Let's continue. In urban areas, there are 7 lakh male people. Okay, in urban areas, coming to urban, there are 7 lakh male people. So total of male is 7 lakhs. I'm just rounding whatever information is given to us. I'm just rounding them in green. Okay, whatever we find or whatever we will calculate, I will give another color. Let's say, let's put them in red. Okay, this we had to calculate. Now 7 lakh people were in the urban place. Now out of 7 lakh, 2.5 lakhs were illiterate. Okay, now urban male, out of 7 lakh, 2.5 lakhs were illiterate. Okay, this is given to us. Now once you know both of this, okay, we will go to the calculations later. Now this is the information we got, we have filled that. Next, in urban areas, 2 lakh ladies are illiterate. Again, in urban area, ladies, again female, 2 lakh ladies. Okay, 2 lakh ladies are illiterate. So we wrote that also. Next, coming to rural areas. Rural areas, there are 15 lakh people, 15 lakh male people. So male, overall male in the rural is 15 lakhs. And then out of which 5 lakhs are literate. Be careful. Out of 15 lakhs male, 5 lakh male are literate. Then in rural areas, literate ladies are 3 lakhs. Again, rural areas, ladies, female, literate 3 lakhs. So all this information which have put the box in green, all that is given in the question. Now, rest of all the information we have to calculate. Now let's see how to calculate rest of all the information. Very easy. Now I'll put for all the calculated numbers, I will put the box in red. Now 7 is the total male in urban area, where 2.5 were illiterate, which means I can say 4.5 were literate. How did I get 4.5? 7 minus 2.5 will give me the answer of 4.5. Clear? So that is the total here. So that's how I got 4.5. Now next, coming to female. First, we will find the total of female. Total of 10 lakhs people were in urban area, out of which 7 lakhs people were male. So I can say 3 lakhs people were female. 10 minus 7 will give me 3 lakhs people as female. So once I found 3 lakhs people as female, now 3 minus 2 lakhs, 1 lakh females are literate in urban area. So first I have to find this 3 and then I'll have to find the 1. So 1, how did I get? 3 minus 2. Okay, so that completes 2 of my columns. Coming to total, 4.5 plus 1 is 5.5. 2.5 plus 2 is 4.5. I'm just adding the numbers here. Okay, so this is the first part. Okay, only urban I have completed. Any doubts in this? Any doubts in the first part of the table? Did you all understand? Okay, now let's go on and finish the next part of the table quickly. Now coming to the rural, you have male, 15 is the total, 5 are literate. Now if I minus both of them, I get 10. Okay, so 10. 10 is what I have calculated. How did I get 10? 15 minus 5. Now again, next, coming to the total, let's find out total here first. Out of total 20, now I also found out 20. How did I find 20? When I had total of 30 people in the state and 10 belongs to urban. Out of 30 people in the state, 10 belongs to urban, which means 20 belongs to rural. So that is how I found the rural people here. Now since I have 20, let me find the total of female. 20 minus 15, which is 5. So 5 is the total of female population in the rural area. Now out of 5 lakhs, 3 lakh females are literate, which means 2 lakhs female are illiterate. Again, I'll have to calculate 5 minus 3, which is 2. So 2 lakh females are illiterate. Now coming to the total, just add them. 5 plus 3 is 8. 10 plus 2 is 12. Okay, so that is the total. Now coming to the last section, that is the total, you have 4.5. Now first column is male. Let me add number of males in urban, number of males in rural. So 4.5, I'll pick another color here for you to understand it better. So 4.5 plus 5, which gives me 9.5. Okay, that is male. Again, 2.5 plus 10, which is 12.5. So 12.5 male. So again here, 7 plus 15, 22. So that will give the total. Then after this, coming to female. Now female, again, just go on and total these things. I'm picking another color. So female, 1 plus 3, 4, 2 plus 2, 4, 3 plus 5, 8. So I've got these female numbers. Again, coming to total, just add these two columns and you will get the total. Or if you add these two columns only, you should get the total. Okay, so very colorful tabulation we did. So this is your first problem. Did you all understand? Anybody has doubt in this? You have ಇನ್ನೊಂದು 10 ನಿಮಿಷ ಆಗುತ್ತೆ ನಾನು ತಿಂತೀನಿ ಅವ್ರು ಏನು ಮಾಡಿದ್ದಾರೆ ನನಗೆ ಗೊತ್ತಿಲ್ಲ ಬೇಡ ತಿನ್ಕೊಂಡು ಪಾಠ ಮಾಡೋಕ್ಕಾಗಲ್ಲ ಅಷ್ಟು ಟಾಕ್ ಕಂಟಿನ್ಯೂಸ್ಲಿ 10 minutes ಅಷ್ಟೇ ಯು ಸ್ಟಾರ್ಟ್ ಐ ವಿಲ್ ಕಮ್ Okay, so this was your first question. Sorry. Okay, so this was your first question. So we just have two more questions. Since you understood the first question, I'll quickly brush through the next two questions where you can solve it, and if you have any doubt, you can again come back to me. Okay, so I'll just go to the next question and quickly finish it. Bear for me, I just want to finish this two problems. It will take another 5 minutes. Okay, 5 to 6 minutes, not more than that. It's a compulsory question for 6 marks, which I've seen in the question paper. Such tabulation problems are asked. Okay, now let's go on. So the next question, let's read the question thoroughly. Present the following information in a statistical table, which means again tabulation of data. Now, in the year 1991, there were 200 banks. Okay, in the year 1991, year is given to us, and they are giving the number of banks. So this is total number of banks. Okay, out of which 50 were private banks. In these 50 banks, okay, in these 50 banks means in this 50 private banks, 10 had ATM facility and none of the nationalized bank had this facility. So which means we have banks. In bank there are two varieties, which is private bank and nationalized bank. Okay, we have two variety of banks. In this private and nationalized you can call it as public banks also. Okay, in this private and nationalized banks, they are doing another classification, which is with ATM. Okay, with ATM and without ATM. Okay, I'll just rewrite this 1 second. Let's take it like this. So first you had a bank. Now bank has two varieties. Okay, that is public bank, private bank. Now in each of them they are saying with ATM and without ATM. Again they are saying with private banks with ATM and without ATM. Okay, this is the first classification. Now in the year 2001, okay, so we have another year. First year was 1991, the other year was 2001. There was an increase of 50 banks in the private sector and total number of banks was 275. Now they're saying from 1991 to 2001, there was increase of 50 banks in the private sector. This is where you will get confused most of the time. So read the question. 50 banks in the private sector. So totally what happened was the banks from 200, it went on to 275. Okay. 20 nationalized banks had ATM facility and 75 private sector banks had this facility. Now we have all the data. Let's quickly draw the table. Now this table is talking about ATM facility, and ATM facility is sector wise. Sector means private sector, public sector. Okay, so table showing sector wise banks having ATMs for the year 1991 and 2001. Specifically data is given for 1991 and 2001. Okay, now coming to the table, first we will take year and the column heading to be 1991 and 2001. The first classification, that is public banks and private banks. So public banks in 1991, private banks in 1991, public in 2001, private in 2001, and the total column. Okay, you can also add another total column here, but not required because they have given us in a different years. Now coming to the facility, that is with ATM, without ATM. So how many banks, public banks had ATM, how many did not have ATM, and the total column. Now let's fill all this data into the table. Going through the question once again. In 1991 there were 200 banks. So total number of banks were 200. Out of which 50 were private banks. Now out of which 50 were private banks means, now I can immediately calculate how much were public. So 150 were public. I'll just use a different color here. So 150 were public, which is calculated 200 minus 50. Okay, so that was our first calculation. Next, in these 50 banks, 10 had ATM facility. Okay, 50 banks, they are talking about private. Okay, private banks. 50 private banks are there. Out of 50 private banks, 10 banks had ATM. So 10 banks had ATM. Now immediately I can calculate private banks without ATM. So private banks without ATM are 40. How did I get 50 minus 10? I got 40 directly. Now let's go to the next sentence. And none of the nationalized bank had this facility. They have clearly given. Okay, none of the nationalized banks. So in nationalized banks means public banks. None of the banks had this ATM facility, which means here it is 0. Here it is 0 completely. If this is 0, it means that without ATM, all the 150 nationalized banks or public banks did not have ATM. So how did we calculate? 150 minus 0, which is equal to 150. So we almost completed the first 1991 year table. Now let's just add up all the numbers. 0 plus 10 is 10. 150 plus 40 is 190. 150 plus 50 is 200. So this is your 1991 table. Any doubts in this? Hope everybody understood this. Now let's go to 2001 table. In the year 2001, there was an increase of 50 banks in private sector. Now here you'll have to be careful. So how many private banks were there in 1991? 50 only. Before you had 50, now they have increased another 50. So previous 50 plus the increase 50 will give me 100. So there were total 100 banks now from private sector, and the total number of banks was 275. So overall total number of banks in 2001 was 275. So these two information are given to us. Now once I get these two total, I can calculate the public banks or the nationalized banks total. That is 275 minus 100 will give me 175. So I calculated this. So anything which I've put on the green box, all that are which we calculated, and the ones in the blue box are what is given in the question. Okay, now going on further, 20 nationalized banks had ATM facility and 75 private. Okay, first we will see 20 nationalized banks had ATM facility. So public bank is nothing but nationalized bank. In this, 20 banks had ATM facility. So 20 banks is given to us in the question. Now next, and 75 private banks had this facility. In private banks, again 75 of them had the ATM facility. So this is the data given. Now whatever is left out, let's just quickly calculate. Now if you take 175 minus 20 will give you 155. So 155 banks did not have ATM in public sector. Similarly, in private sector, out of 100 banks, 75 had ATM and 25 did not have ATM. So this again we calculated. Now if you add both of them, 20 plus 75, 95, 155 plus 25, 180, 175 plus 100 is 275, which we already calculated. So this is your next question when it comes to tabulation of data. Any doubts in this question? Everybody understood? Okay, there's one last question where you have percentages, because these percentages are usually asked in the examination. Let's quickly finish this off. Okay, now in a sample study about coffee habits, this is the next question. In a sample study of coffee habits in 2 towns. Okay, so the first thing is coffee habits and they're taking 2 towns. The following information was received and they have separately given us town A and town B. So there are 2 different towns and the information is given separately. Females were 40%. Total coffee drinkers were 45%. Male non-coffee drinkers were 20%. Again in town B, males were 55%. Male non-coffee drinkers were 30%. And female coffee drinkers were 50%. Represent the above in tabular form. So too much of data is given with percentages. Let's just simplify them. They have given us two towns, A, B. Okay, so the main classification is coffee drinkers. So we have two towns, A and B. In these two towns, they have classified based on gender, male, female in A, and again male, female in B. Okay, now after this, each of them are again divided as coffee drinkers and non-coffee drinkers. Okay, male coffee drinkers, non-coffee drinkers, female coffee drinkers, non-coffee drinkers. Again in town B, male coffee drinkers, non-coffee drinkers, and again female coffee drinkers and non-coffee drinkers. So these are our classification in the complete from the complete question we have taken this classification. Now let's put all this into the table. For that, heading, table showing coffee drinking habits, that is already given here. Okay, coffee drinking habits in town A and town B. Okay, now coming to the table, town A, town B, first classification, male, female, total. That is for town A. Again for town B, male, female, total. The next classification, their habits, coffee drinkers, non-coffee drinkers, and the total. Now let us quickly put all the data into the table. Now here if you see, first for town A, females were 40%. Overall females, okay, overall females were 40%. Okay, we have just ignored the percentage sign here and we have just taken the number. So overall females were 40%. Total coffee drinkers were 45%. Be careful, it is not total here, but total coffee drinkers. See, you have coffee drinkers and total of coffee drinkers were 45%. In that, male non-coffee drinkers and male, they are 20%. So in a table for town A, I have got these three data given in the question. Rest of the data we'll calculate later. Now let's go to town B. Now town B, males were 55%. So total males were 55%. Male non-coffee drinkers were 30%. Male non-coffee drinkers, you can see here non-coffee drinkers and male, which is 30%. Then female coffee drinkers were 15%. Female coffee drinkers. So female coffee drinkers were first row, second column, 15. Clear? So this is what they had given to us completely. I hope everybody understood until here. Now let's go on and calculate the values in total. Now since it's given as percentage, okay, since everywhere it is given as percentage, we will be assuming the total number of people in A, town A, is 100 because it's given in percentage, okay, and total number of people in B is also 100. Okay, that will reduce lot of our calculation. Now let us calculate the other values. Now the other values, let's do something like this. Okay, now first we will go with total. Wherever you have two values, where you know two values, it is better for us to calculate there. So out of 100 people, 45 of them drink coffee, which means 55 of them don't drink coffee. So out of 100 people, 45 will drink coffee and 55 will not drink coffee. How did I get 55? 100 minus 45. Yeah, thank you. That's nice. I think it's better if people mute yourself. Hope it was done. Let's continue. Now, once you know the non-coffee drinkers, now let's calculate the complete non-coffee drinkers. So, 55 were the total people who did not drink coffee. Now, in that 20 were male, and what are the rest left out people? You can say them as female non-coffee drinkers. How did I get 35 value here? It is 55 minus 20, which is 35. Okay, so that is the calculation for non-coffee drinkers here. Now, next let us calculate here. Now, if you go on and calculate the female category in town A, 40 were the total people, in which 35 will not drink coffee, which means 5 of them will drink coffee. As simple as that. Now, coming to the last calculation of town A, that is male. Out of 100 people, 40 of them are female, which means 60 of them will be male in town A. Then, if 60 out of 60 total, 20 of them does not drink coffee, which means 40 of them will drink coffee. Okay, so that was your town A calculation. Any doubts in this? Any doubts in town A calculation? Since they have given percentages, it may sound a little confusing at times, so carefully read the question. Okay, now let's go to town B. Now in town B, again out of 100 people, okay, out of 100 people, if 55 of them are male, okay, 55 of them are male, which means 45 of them are female. How did I get this calculation? 100 minus 55, that is 45. So this was the first calculation. Next, let us sort out with male here, because we have two data. So out of total 55 male, 30 people will not drink coffee, which means 25 people will drink coffee. See, if you see here, coffee drinkers. Out of 55 people, 30 people will not drink coffee, which means 25 people will drink coffee. Next, female. Out of 45 females, 15 females will drink coffee, which means 30 people will not drink coffee. How did I get 45 minus 15? I get 30. So that is male and female of count of town B. Now, if you just add both of them, 25 plus 15, 40, 30 plus 30, 60. That will give me the total of this column. So that completes your third question tabulation. Okay, and any doubt in this question? Any problem you want me to repeat, or any part of the problem you want me to repeat? Okay, there's just one more question, but that will be sent in the group for you to solve. You have to solve and send me the answer for this. Okay, this will be an exercise for you. I will forward this problem in the group where you can solve and send me the photo. Okay, so thank you for your patience, students. We'll stop it here for today.